You know, this show became infamous or famous because we did a thing called Force the Vote, and we figured out that the Squad, AOC, Cori Bush, and those people who called themselves the Squad actually had enough votes to stop Nancy Pelosi from being elected Speaker in 2020 or 2021. And we wanted them to withhold their vote and force a vote on Medicare for All. It was in the middle of a deadly pandemic. A vote for Medicare for All on the floor, House of the Floor, is what AOC ran on. It's what Nancy Pelosi claimed she wanted 2 generations ago. So we decided, everybody agrees on force the vote. The DSA in their handbook says they want to force a vote on Medicare for All. Everybody had agreed on forcing a vote on Medicare for All, right up until the point where it became feasible to actually do it. So just like the Republicans screwed over McCarthy and he had to go through 14 rounds of voting because they withheld their vote, we wanted the Squad to do the same thing. And a lot of people lied about it. Cenk Uygur lied about it. You saw David Sirota come on this show and try to lie about it. You saw Ryan Grimm then defended them. And so now Ryan Grimm has written a book about the Squad. So that's why he was defending them, because he was practicing access journalism, because he was writing a book about the Squad that praises them for doing absolutely nothing. So watch this. Force the Vote comes up during their interview on Fucking Points with Krystal and Saga. And watch how uncomfortable it makes Krystal, and watch how Ryan Grimm tries to bullshit his way through it. This is great. Watch this. Okay.
Interesting, yeah, who among us? But that is an interesting sort of question for the Squad, is how do they force the vote? Do they, I mean, how has their thinking?
The answer is no. The answer is they don't force votes. They never go against the establishment. Here we go.
Involved on using their numbers to force some of these conversations.
I think you know, they have definitely heard the criticism, and it's something I think that
they've heard the First of all, AOC won't even force a vote over sunscreen. Okay. Prediction: Ukraine is going to force a vote before the Squad does.
There's other ones for this. That's lower.
By the way, do you remember that they made a documentary about the Squad called "Knocking Down the House" or "Knock
Down the House"? The AOC
Knock Down the House, the AOC documentary. Actually, what that "Knock Down the House" means is keep your head down and try to stay in power.
Yeah.
Or maybe pivot to easing sunscreen regulations. That's what she did. That's the kind of great stuff you're going to find in Ryan Grimm's book.
The top is it?
Well, I don't.
Oh
no. Hey, no. You know who is going to force a vote? AIPAC's going to force a vote to kick your asses out of office.
Missing a page.
That who is? No, it didn't come through.
No, it's
okay.
I was gonna say they heard. He's going. They heard the criticism.
They heard the criticism.
She didn't ask if they can hear stuff.
So
Ryan, would you say the Squad is legally deaf? No,
let's play that again. Let's play that
interesting,
again.
yeah, who among us? But that is an interesting sort of question for the Squad, is how do they force the vote? Do they, I mean, how has their thinking evolved on using their numbers to force some of these conversations?
I think you know, they have definitely heard the criticism. And it's something
they've heard that. See, we were afraid that they were deaf, but thank God Ryan Grimm is there to report that they actually aren't deaf and they actually can hear criticism. They heard the criticism. It wasn't just criticism. What they did around Force to Vote was reveal that they are defenders of the status quo and they will never go against the establishment of their own party when it comes to anything seriously economic.
He said they're sorting through it. Yes, their 5 senses work, and the information is going in. The critique is going in their ear hole. Now it's a sorting game.
It's just a sorting.
We just got to sort it out.
So again, he does that thing where you try to make it more complicated than it actually is.
They get the idea of force the vote. The thing that they said, by the way.
But the thing
was not, you didn't make that up, right? Didn't AOC say that?
So here, they ran on it. They ran on force to vote. So this is Ilhan Omar before Force to Vote. Yes, we can. With the slim Democratic majority in the next Congress, anything can be possible. It will literally take 5 courageous progressive members to get concessions on progressive policies. That's what we wanted them to do. They refused to do it. Not only they refused to do it, they refused to even talk to the people who were asking them to do it. They refused to show up to a town hall that had 100,000 people attend that wanted them to do it. They did not do it. They wouldn't listen to us. And what they did was they then called us sexist. That's exactly what they did to Bernie Sanders followers, what the Hillary Clinton campaign did to us. They called us sexist and they called us violent. That's what they did. And so, and
F the voter, they changed it
here's
to.
Kyle Kalinske, who has turned into an apologist for them all along. He says, these were some of the main points in favor of forcing a vote on Medicare for all during a pandemic. Sometimes it's good to get members on the record so people can't make excuses later. Sometimes these votes create real political pressure that forces developments. And sometimes we vote for the historical record to let future generations know we did everything we could. Well, they didn't force a vote, so they know now we know they didn't do anything they could.
They didn't
do anything.
Wait, which
they didn't
Kyle
do
is
anything.
this posting this? Oh, this isn't Beach Kyle.
This is pre-blonde Kyle. This is Kyle before.
Not Malibu Kyle. This is regular.
This is not Malibu Kyle.
Original Kyle.
So, and then Ryan Grimm then tried to pretend this is him running interference for the squad. It's a tactic, meaning forcing the vote. It's a tactic. Sometimes it's smart. Sometimes it's not. It depends on the circumstances. If it's 3rd down and you need 1 yard, running might be the smart call. If it's 3rd and 30, running isn't the smart call. It's sadly not 3rd and 1 for Medicare for all. So that's his way to insulate. So he was now defending politicians while trying to smear and slander and discredit activists, healthcare activists. A real football player, Justin Jackson, says it's not 3rd and 30 either. It was 3rd and 30 when Bernie started running and hardly anyone supported the policy. It's actually 4th and 1 on the goal line and you're down 14 in the 4th quarter and they're kicking a field goal. How about go for it and get us closer to taking the lead? That's a real professional football player bodying Ryan Grimm, the liar for politicians.
Wait,
and now he's welcomed with open arms on Breaking Points by Krystal, the 40 millionaire, and Kyle Kalinske, the blonde man. They're worried so then Ryan Grimm responds, they're worried if they go for it. Not only are they certain they won't make it, but they might be tackled in the backfield and turn it over on downs, leaving he's
replying to the football guy.
He's replying to the football guy. So the football guy comes back. I'm sorry, man. This is a horrible analogy and the type of thinking that gets coaches fired. You have to take risks, especially when the situation is advantageous. You're arguing for the field goal. The safe play actually increases your chances of losing the game, not vice versa. And then Brianna Joy Gray came in and said, it's so much more basic than that even. It's like catching the ball. You always catch the ball. There's no good reason to let it fall on the ground so the other team can gain possession. This was an unforced fumble.
Do you think?
And then Ryan Grimm says, I'm not arguing for either play. I'm just saying that sometimes a play is right and sometimes that play under different circumstances is wrong. And people can disagree about that, but still want to win. People can disagree about play selection and be on the same team. That's my point.
No, it isn't.
And
He was arguing for the
So
play.
he was. So what I said, this is what it looks like when you are paid to do access journalism and run interference for politicians abandoning their own platforms and their own supporters. I'm actually not saying anything.
You just sound like I'm just stalling for time here. I hope there's at least a part in his book where he mansplains football to the squad.
Here he tried to pull that shit on Shama Shawant, and she says this to him.
It was a betrayal. Sorry, what the actual fuck are you saying?
What in the actual fuck are you saying? This is Shama Shawant, a real activist, talking to a piece of it like Ryan Grimm, who's a paid liar.
Even non-sports
He's paid
fans?
by 2-3 billionaires to lie and protect politicians. That's what his job is. That's what that whole book he just wrote is an excuse for politicians to let you down and do the opposite of what they campaigned on. That's what that book is for, and that's why Krystal loves it. Krystal loves that book. Why? Because she's worth $40 million, and she doesn't give a shit about lying to you either. She lied to you about COVID. She lied to you about vaccines. She lied to you about the squad. She's lying to you about Ukraine war, and now she's lying to you about this book. Let's watch it again.
Interesting, yeah, who among us? But that is an interesting sort of question for the squad, is how do they force the vote? Do they, how has their thinking evolved on using their numbers to force some of these conversations?
I think they have definitely heard the criticism, and it's something I think that they're sorting through. I think when it comes to some,
This guy exhibits the same awkward kind of discomfort with the truth that a dog has when he's wearing a hat for a photo. That's the kind of, they've definitely heard it.
He does wear his hair like a dog wearing a hat for a photo.
some issues like I go through force the vote a little bit in there, and there's a page.
No, guys. I
like a
would
page.
love to talk about forcing the vote.
So this is someone saying, I would love to talk. This is someone who doesn't have an interest in protecting the squad or Democrats. This is someone who does. And she's trying to laugh. Please don't bring this up because it exposes me for being a fraud. It exposes Ryan for being a fraud, which is why they're laughing, because what else are you going to do? Put on your Wolf Blitzer sad face when someone exposes you for being a fraud? And so now she's saying to her, please stop talking about force to vote. Please. Watch this. This
It's
is
also
great.
about access.
Watch this. This is force 100%.
Boy, Jimmy, this blonde is really effing with Ryan and Krystal, and I don't mean Kyle Kalinske.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Watch.
I
like a
would
page.
love to talk about forcing the vote.
We can.
What are you guys' thoughts on this?
We're just
Please don't, because it exposes us as being frauds. Remember, we said we were going to be the antidote to the mainstream media. Well, now we're just a different version of that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. This is great stuff. Watch this.
do force the vote every day for the entire show for the rest of our lives. On that, they're like, no, that wasn't it. But they do get the idea.
Oh my
like
God.
they are into the idea that they want to build their leverage. And toward the end of it,
That's good.
AOC
They're
is
into
saying,
the idea of it.
now that we're approaching,
They're into the idea of it. They're not actually into doing it.
They're
kind of.
building their leverage. Hey,
So at some point, is Ryan going to apologize for being wrong? Because now the people he was defending for not doing the idea are for the idea of it. Is he going to now write an article or a tweet saying, yeah, it turns out Jimmy Dore was 100% right and everybody who was for force the vote was right and we were 100% wrong. In fact, we weren't wrong. That's the difference. It wasn't an honest disagreement. He was lying to retain his access to politicians. And that's what access journalism is. And then Breaking Points and Kyle and Krystal brings him on as their regular because that's what they're about now. They're about being part of the professional managerial class. And they don't give a fuck about workers. They don't give a fuck about your health care. They got theirs. She got her $40 million and she wants to hang out with people who have access. And she wants to be close to political celebrity. And that's what you get when you watch Breaking Points, which is why you didn't know. If you watched their show, you didn't know anything about COVID. You got the wrong information on vaccines and lockdowns and masks. If you got the wrong idea about Ukraine, you were pro Ukraine, and now you're left propping up a book that is lying to you about what the squad did and does, and you're there filleting a guy and pretending that he's telling you the truth. This is what you look like. This is what a professional managerial class access journalist looks like when he's lying. That's what he looks like. And they love it.
Like John Tesh without the charisma
That's exactly.
or the talent for music.
10 to 12. Like that's a place where there's power that can be leveraged and in a way that won't be annihilated. And there was a
You mean annihilated like Matt Gaetz and those everybody who used their force to vote to get all those concessions from McCarthy and then used their power to get rid of them.
Wait, Jimmy, how about they can't force the vote because McCarthy might become Speaker
That's right.
of the House?
Remember that? Oh,
Can you imagine if they had forced the vote and McCarthy became Speaker and then got forced out, which is what happened to him?
This is like a circus that's ignoring the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is that Ryan Grimm and the squad have already been exposed as enemies of workers and people who want health care. They've already been exposed, and now they're trying to pretend, oh, you know what? They're actually coming around to that idea now. They're actually coming around to actually using the leverage they actually have to get things for the people that they said they represented. They're actually coming around to that idea of actually doing what they campaigned on, what they was in the DSA handbook in 2019, the things that Jimmy Dore pointed out in real time in 2021, and everybody shit on him for it. They're actually coming around to that now, are they? Because AOC said I was committing violence against her. With my words, I was committing violence. And the Young Turks,
The toughest member of the squad?
and Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur, and they all lied on behalf of the politicians. So that's why nobody watches the Young Turks anymore, and they have no base. They have no base whatsoever. They have nobody. Why would you, right? So yes, let's remember that the Young Turks did a poll of their paying members. 86% of their own paying members wanted the squad to force the vote on Medicare for all. Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, David Sirota, and this guy all lied about it. They all lied about it. And some of them even went so far as to say that McCarthy could become speaker, which is what David Sirota said on my show, that McCarthy could become speaker, which was always a lie.
Thank God we prevented it by them not doing nothing.
And Cenk Uygur kept saying it a month after people explained it to him that it couldn't happen, that McCarthy could never become speaker if the Democrats held power in the House. That would never happen. It could never happen. And it didn't happen. Nancy Pelosi became speaker. So this
Wait, did you watch the beginning of their whole? I watched their whole video.
No, I didn't watch the whole video.
So a big part of the book is, the squad was just a label put on them. So here's how they got the name the squad. AOC put an Instagram up of her and I guess the squad members and what #squad under it, like a Taylor Swiftie. Mm-hmm. And then the whole dumbass Hollywood media went, oh, the squad. But he points out in reality, everyone votes alone. So that's why they're just getting around. So even though they took it and ran with her stupid Instagram, they never were a squad. What are you going to have them do? What's their big mission? AOC, you hide in a closet. Jamal, you distract the fire department.
So they call them the squad. I say calling the squad is fine because you achieved nothing because you were afraid it might cost you your seats. That's it.
Yeah.
But you know who is going to force that vote? APEC.
They said that in this too.
Oh, did they say that?
They have a whole section about
of weakness that I think that contributed to some, as well as like a sense of being new and not really having a sense of how this is all going to end.
Can you be more fucking mealy mouthed?
Do you think it's written like that in the book?
Why you would think? Is it written like that?
Do they keep all the ums and uhs and dots?
Don't you think you would have something to say about this? Because it's going to come up in your book interview. This is what he came up with. This is what These guys are dumber than me. By far, Ryan Grimm, Krystal Ball, dumber than me. On purpose, by the way.
Same time, though, will there still be 10 or 12 at the end of this next election cycle? Or will there be 2?
Right.
Like, it is quite possible that a lot of them could get wiped out by.
Right, they're going to get wiped out by APEC.
Yeah, he says,
because they actually did say something against a genocide happening in Gaza. So they didn't fight for you when it came to unions. They broke a union. The squad did. They voted to break a union, and they did it. They didn't fight for you when it came to of getting you health care in the middle of a deadly pandemic. They didn't do anything. What they did say something. They did send a letter. Hey, maybe we shouldn't do a genocide, which is going to get APEC to try to wipe them all out in the next election cycle.
APEC and DMFI money before,
which just announced they're going to spend $100 million against them.
Sort of. The sourcing on that was a little dicey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like I think it was sourced to people who are watching or something. However,
there's a threat.
Yeah, the $100 million is plausible because if they're spending,
won't have to spend that much.
Not going to have to spend that much to get rid of them. And you know when they do that, when APEC spends $100 million to get rid of the squad, you know what nobody's going to say? Please stop. The squad helped us like they promised. We can't afford to lose them. No one's going to say that. Hang on.
20 races, that gets you there right away. And it's not implausible, but APEC hasn't quite come out and said they're going to do that. They haven't confirmed it or not.
Gotcha. Gotcha, guys. Guys, I gotcha.
That is.
I gotcha,
guys.
And
like last time they spent like 40 collectively between the programs.
Oh, this matters.
So it wouldn't be insane to see 100.
Gotcha.
Gotcha,
Well, the book
guys.
is fantastic. I'm almost through it.
The book is fantastic. Did you hear the book is Did you hear that? Krystal loves Ryan's book. Book is fantastic. I'm almost through it. I read it to Kyle at bedtime. He conks right out. Personally, I'd rather read Cenk's book which is called, what's it called? It's called The Justice is Coming,
Right.
which sounds like
His horse.
that is the horse. Is that about a horse named Justice?
Yeah.
Because I think Cenk likes to jerk off horses. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Well, I mean, he didn't come out and say that. It's like AIPAC didn't say they're going to spend $100 million, but he's going to do something with a horse once he gets in. That's why he has my vote.
We're doing live comedy shows in Oxnard, California, Venice, California, Palmdale, California, Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Michigan, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Boston. Plus, we're going to put a date in Edmonton, Canada, plus Vancouver. See ya. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.